Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here again with another update with the E600LFP. So I'm on a mission here to mod stuff, and I'm trying to figure out a nice way and a good clean way, a safe way to get the energy from my EB3000 to filter into this bad boy, so that way you can have the EB3000 like at your base camp or your camping place, and then that could be hooked to 400 watts of solar. That's the most that allow that to come in. You can over panel it too, that way you get a little extra. And then I want at the end of the night where you bring this little guy and then you charge it from the energy of the EB3000. So this is what I came up with. I remember, if you guys remember, I made another video where I was coming out like the cigarette lighter of the EB3000 into a conversion into the barrel. Now obviously I hate that, guys. I'm not a fan of cigarette lighters. I don't even like DC output unless it's like Anderson or XT60, XT90, something like that. I need something stronger, guys. So what I came up with here is, this is just a temporary, and this is an ongoing thing. I'm trying to figure out how to best do this, and I have some theories. I just want to run them past you guys. Okay, so this is an XT60 that came with the alligator clamps for one of the EB3000s. Now I never used the alligator clamps, and I have two EB3000s, which means I have a backup one of those in case I ever needed it, right? So I had an extra cable that I was able to mod and chop up, and that way I can try this I don't know what you experiment, if you want to call it that. So XT60, and then I modded that, so I took off the alligator clips and I put them into the MC4s, okay? And now guys, be real careful when you do this, because you're modding stuff, so you're messing with your warranty, you're messing with the dangers of getting shocked or something like that. So try this at your own risk, of course. This is just an idea that I want to toss out there just for an idea. Okay, so I modded that into the positive negative input terminals, if you will, or connectors of MC4, and then I route that through a DC meter to make sure that everything is running smoothly before you hook in to the barrel. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of barrels. I'm not a fan of cigarette lighters. This was just a test to see if this would work. You try a small test, and then you kind of get brave enough to kind of ramp up the test, and then next thing you know, you get a shock. So let's try this. This will go into the output of the EB3000, which is the inverter side, which is on this side. So I'll put that in real quick. Just got to get it in there. Give me a second. It's tough when you can't see. It's all dark back there. Give me a second. I got to turn the light on here. Sorry about that, guys. I should have had this ready here. But I wanted to show you that port before I went and shoved it in there. Okay, so now that's plugged in. You had to use a little light bulb to get back there, because I got tons of power stations, as you see, guys. My collection is growing faster than I can understand them. Okay, so as you see, this is the inverter's already on. Now hopefully you can see that it says 13.36 volts, which is the XT60 output of the EB3000. Now that, remember, that allows energy to flow out of that port up to 15 amps, okay? So this only allows input of up to 7 amps. So that's my bottleneck. However, guys, this allows up to 15 amps, okay? So my theory is, after I show you this idea, I'm going to show you another one, and kind of make you understand where I'm going with this. I feel like a mad scientist here. Okay, so as I plug this into the input barrel, which, like I said, I'm not a fan of barrels. This is just for the test, guys. I want to have a much bigger, stronger connection, and I'll explain the connection in a minute. So basically you have, remember, it's got a slow start, guys, so you got to give it a minute here. Now notice the power is starting to trickle out, and once it talks to the MPPT controller and the BMS and everything, and kind of figures out what it needs. Okay, as you can see, the power is starting to trickle in there. Now it's really going in. So you're pulling out up to 90 watts, okay? And that's usually the limit for this. This can only take in 100 watts. That's the bottleneck that I'm fighting right now. So we're pulling out 85, and obviously it's probably almost done. Yep, say 98%, so it's going to drop a little bit. So figure, let's ballpark that at 90 watts output from the EB3000 battery that was charging at the base station all day, and then we have this trickling in at just under 80 watts continuously And then that way, if you're using this box to, you know, power a laptop or lights or a fan or something like that, you know, you can maintain that, right? And charge directly through the Pecron into this. So my other theory was, if you give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to grab another cable here. My optimal hookup is what I wanted was, I wanted to go from the EB3000 into a meter for safety, and into the MC4 connector, sorry, into the 5-pin aviation, and that will allow 15 watts to come out into this power station. Now remember, the drawback that we have is this will not recognize, here I'll show you in real time so you can kind of watch with me here. Now if this would have worked, it would have been fantastic and simple. So we're going to put these bad boys here, we're going to put those bad boys there, and now we're going to close the barrel for, you know, just dust and everything, and then we're going to plug this into the 5-pin aviation. Now notice that it recognizes that voltage wants to come in the system from the EB3000, right? And it's still 13.3 plus volts. So you have the connection established. The machine understands that there's power that wants to get in there. However, unless you get this voltage high enough to get into this port, oh, actually, wait, there it goes. Holy crapzilla, guys, it's working. Holy crapzilla. Okay, so guys, this port was able to recognize all the way down to 13.2. Wow, that caught me off guard, guys. Holy crapzilla. All right, so now we're getting 84 watts in. I didn't think it was going to work because, remember, this usually needs about 22 volts. But notice, guys, I'm only coming in at 13, I think this was 13.3, and now we're down to 13.2, and it's actually feeding in through this, which is a much safer, better cable, right? Because it's a higher grade cable, it's a better quality cable. The barrels I'm not a fan of, but notice that we pumped this up a little bit by about 4 or 5 watts. It's not much, but this is where I'm going with this. So my idea is to take, now this is working, so we know that that's good. This is, like I said, I feel like a scientist, a mad scientist trying to figure this stuff out. And when you don't have all the knowledge, remember I'm still new at this solar stuff a little bit, when you don't have the knowledge, you really kind of reach out for help and see if anybody out there has tried this or willing to try this. And, you know, like I said, you could void your warranties, guys, so be careful, you know, modding stuff. But I'm only modding the cables and not the actual machine. So notice that we got 83 coming in, and that's a little bit a better bump, but this is actually coming in at 13 volts, guys. This was, I don't think this was designed, because according to this it says 32 to 95, but I think because it's only one MPPT controller, whatever you plug in there, I don't think it cares as long as it's over, as you see, 13 volts or possibly even 10 or 12. I don't know, I haven't tested that far down, but I'm amazed that it's actually taking in power at only 13 volts through this 5-pin aviation port. So now here's my theory, guys, and this is where it gets crazy, okay? So this is what I want to do. Instead of having the XT60 on this side coming from the inverter, what I'd like to do, and this is where you can, you know, void your warranty, guys, so be careful. If you had a, oh, hold on 1 second, okay? Let me grab the other cable. Okay, back again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so on these, I don't recommend these. I just want to show you for the plug that's in there. These, I believe, are called banana plugs, and they're just long pins that you put inside, you know, like you know, one of these guys. You put them in there, and then basically you can check wattage and things, and volts and amps and everything. But this is my idea. Now follow me if you can. So I want to put heavy-duty banana plugs, if you will, in the direct output of the cascading cables. Okay, so say if I just have one EB3000, and then you put very heavy-duty, though, they got to be heavy-duty, banana plugs like this with heavy-duty gauge cable, maybe at least 12 gauge cable, and those would go into the other side, which is MC4, and then into this. Now, what this would do in theory, like I said, I have not been brave enough to try this yet, but I saw a video with this one where the guy literally, he ran a diesel heater right out the Pecron E2000 or the EB3000, because remember, they're hot. That port is hot all the time. So I'm pretty sure that these are hot. Well, actually, I'm sure because I voltage checked the second port the first or the second port, and they both gave out energy. So there's no handshake, or there's no communication thing as far as turn on or turn off the port. They're hot all the time, guys. Kind of like a cigarette lighter. If you have an auxiliary in your car and a cigarette lighter is on all the time, and then when you plug it in, then it takes the energy out, like that. So what I wanted to do was put the banana cables in there, and he did this. He ran a diesel heater, guys, and a diesel heater is very power hungry, and a 12 volt is usually not enough for a diesel heater, you know, unless you have a lot of amps going, because that's a hungry little device. So what he did, and the video's online, I'll try to put it in the description here. He was a mad scientist for sure. So I want to go out the EB3000, and what that would do is, instead of a 12 volt output, that would bring out the input of the meter to 24 volts. Okay, so what happens at 24 volts at the same amps is you double the wattage, right? So if you could get the energy out of the EB3000 into here safely at 24 volts up to 15 amps, guys, holy crapzilla, that would charge this in no time, right? Because you would have up to, let's see, in theory, 20 times 15, that's up like 300 watts almost coming out of the EB3000 through those ports into here. And then, of course, you would be using the input from a solar panel through the inverter on the other side. So that way you're cut off, you're safe, you know. You shouldn't have any power surges that way, because that has a separate MPPT controller and a BMS, and then that's just a straight car battery basically on that side. So that's my theory, guys. Throw me any suggestions you have. Like I said, I haven't been brave enough to actually attempt it yet. I have the schematics down of how I want to do it. I have the cables that I want to do it, but you know, as with anything, you have to muster up the courage enough to try it. But guys, if I can get 24 volts out of that bad boy, and then up to, like, this is bringing in, see, just under 7 amps, right? If I can get even 24 volts at 7 amps, you just doubled this input, right? And if you can get more than that, up to 15, and I would fuse the line, of course. I would put a fuse on the positive just in case. For safety. But guys, you could quadruple this number right here and bring it up to 300 watts. I mean, this might be a cool way to do it. All right, guys, this is just an update, just an idea. You can see it works. I was shocked that this actually took that. And like I said, I'm only coming out the XT60, guys. As you'll see, I'll pull out this cable right now so you can watch it in real time. Okay, so the cable's out, and that always takes a second to drop. So we'll let the power go down here. Boy, is it hot today. Okay, so see how it went down? All right, so, and this went off. So that's all connected, guys. No shenanigans. I was really surprised. Here, I'll plug it back in just to you know, double check. Okay, it's plugged in here. Notice that the voltage goes up to 13.3. It's almost charged, really, but that's, I think, the most that we're going to get out of this plug. Is about 80 some watts, which that's not bad, guys. You know, you could charge this in about 6-7 hours, and then while you're sleeping, you can let it, you know, charge from the EB3000. Take this to go down to fishing, so you don't have to carry a big 60-pound thing or 50-pound thing. You could just carry this little 20-pounder, take this down to the river, go fishing, and enjoy yourself on a picnic or whatever, and then come back and fill this at the end of the night, because that thing's at the base camp getting all that free power from the sun, guys. So that's awesome. There you go, and it's back up to just under 90 watts here. So this is a pretty cool test, guys. I hope you're happy with this one, because I didn't expect that to work, guys. I really didn't. According to the specs, it shouldn't, right? It shouldn't work. But as you can see, safe and sound. Once again, try this at your own risk, guys. But please leave comments if you have any ideas that could help me figure this out. Like I said, I have an idea of how I want to do it. Straight banana plugs right out, heavy duty, right into a meter, obviously fused, and then that would go into MC4, and MC4 into the 5-pin aviation, and that would be a very strong, safe connection especially with the fuse in there. All right, guys, ramble on, be safe, and I'll see you next time at Ramblin Bob Reviews. This is a good machine, guys. Bye.